On this beautiful summer day, when the sun is shining, the weather is temperate, and everything seems to be going well, then we listen to 3 readings that seem to be a real bummer. Starts off, vanity of vanities, all things are vanity. And then the second reading, Paul reminds the people to take a look at themselves and get rid of all that puts them down, that makes them less than they are. And then the gospel tells about the rich harvest that the man tried to keep for himself. But God says it's not worth it. The good thing about, though, the 3 readings is that it gives us the opportunity to step back, especially during the summertime, when things are supposed to be slower, except in the United States, if you're not working 80 hours a week, you're not productive. Things are slower. It might be a good time to really reflect upon what is really valuable in life. What are we about? You know, a few weeks ago, we had the story of Martha and Mary. You know, how do we put work and prayer life in balance so that we do both well, so that we have a balance and not spend all our time in prayer and not spend all our time in work, that there's a balance in life. And I think that's what today's readings are about. What are our priorities? What's really important? And I think the challenge of Paul to the Colossians is that, you know, we need to reflect upon where we need to make changes in our life. Where do we need to put off things that are keeping us from being the best that we can be? Where do we need to shed those things that are keeping us down? The other side of the coin, though, is that, and we don't do a lot of this, where are we reflecting upon all the good we do? You know, we spend so much time talking about what we've done wrong sometimes that we forget to focus on the good we do. And I think that's a good thing that we should be doing, too, during this time of reflection. What good do I do, and how can I enhance that so that I am a better person and those whom I encounter are better people? And that's one of the balances I think we need to have in life. Where do I need to seek forgiveness? Where do I cast off those things that keep me from being a totally human follower of Christ? But where do I rejoice in the gifts that God has given me? And I think one of the things that we can learn from this gospel especially, the man had a bountiful harvest. He had more than he could use. And what did he decide to do? He built a wall, a silo. What good did it do him? You know, I think a disciple of Christ doesn't build walls, they build longer tables. Because when we have a bountiful harvest, when we share our gifts with others, then many people are fed, many people are nourished, many people are built up. And I think that's what the challenge of the Gospels today. Because we tend, as in being human, we want to hold on to things. But the more we give away, the richer we are in many ways. And I think building a bigger table makes more sense, which helps me segue into one of the reasons we're here today. As I said, we're here to celebrate Sister Jane's 60th anniversary as a religious sister. You know, as I was talking to her, she was a teacher at Marian Catholic High School. She was an administrator. And now she helps run a program in Aurora teaching English as a second language to immigrants. There's a heavy, heavy Spanish population in Aurora. I have some friends out that way. And because they don't know our language, they're marginalized. And what Sister is doing is helping bring them to the table, sharing the harvest that each and every one of us is called to share. You know, in my over almost 60-some years of working with religious sisters, as at first a teacher, then as a priest, I've worked with some phenomenal women, and I've encountered, some of them were a pain in the neck, but that's another story. but I've worked with some phenomenal women. And if we look at the talent that these women have contributed to the church, if you remember, Cardinal Bernardine's oncologist was a religious sister. It was religious sisters who were involved in the sciences. It was the religious sisters who educated many of the immigrants who came to this country, the ones who took marginalized people and taught them and made them part of society, welcomed them to the table, and shared the harvest of their knowledge. And I think we can learn an example. Of course, we have the two great ones here, Sister Joan and Sister Pauline. You know, we can't do without them. I always said, Jerry might be the pastor, but Pauline runs the parish. But you know what? Because they're generous people. And I think we can learn, not only from religious sisters, but the brothers and other people who have influenced in our lives, people who did not build up things for themselves, but used the God-given talents that each and every one of us shares to make sure that the harvest is spread and everyone is taken care of. And it is a challenge, because we tend to be a society where the more I have, the better I am. But I think the more we have, the more we share, the more true and faithful disciples of Jesus we are. So let us reflect on the gospel readings and all the readings today and see where I need to make changes in my life, but where I can share the talents that God has given me to build the kingdom of God. Our treasure is in heaven. Our treasure is when we share with each other all the gifts we have.
Thank you for joining us for this celebration of the Mass. This virtual Mass is broadcast to hundreds of people every day of the week. You know, over 100 years ago, the very first celebrations of the Mass took place on the second floor of the Glenview Public House. It's been inconceivable that 100 years later, we would be reaching so many people all over the world through this technology. If you'd like to support the ongoing broadcasts of OLPH's Masses, please go to our website, go to Give Central, and you'd be able to support the ongoing outreach of this virtual ministry. Thank you for your support. Most of all, thank you for joining us in prayer. God bless you.